Hey, hello all. We are on time. And first of all, thanks for everyone to joining this call. And it's a happy evening meeting you. And once again, this is Sriram Kumar, the PMP coach. So today, what we thought is we will give a heads up on the importance of PMP and the market demand. Always there is a question: is it really worth putting the effort for the PMP? I know some of you are already preparing for the exams, some of you in the plan of joining the course, some of you would have already halfway towards examination. And when you look up the book, when you look at the content, when you look at the examination, sometimes it's questioning whether really better try it. Such a hard one. So what we thought is we want to invite Mr. Murad, one of the specialists in project management. He's an expert from New Jersey, right? He's a keynote speaker in multiple forums. So he has such a background, such a knowledge in US and European market. So what we thought is it is a good idea to have him here to give you a broad idea of what's happening in the market, what's a current trend in project management, and how can we move towards it. By the way, the question is, do we need to really work out on only one particular country or one particular continent, or is this project management spread across? When I started reading PM in the year 2016, I was not much aware how much the opportunity was by the time. I was just a bookworm. I was just reading the books, thinking that it's going to help only in my project, only in my corporate life. After reading this book and getting qualified as PMP, after getting a membership in pmi.org, after reading some article from great writers and speakers like Murad, I was surprised to know that this PMP is so broad. A person can switch domain, a person can go to a different country, can get a higher grade in their life, including higher income. So I thought, why don't we share this knowledge to everyone in the industry who are in the track of getting into managerial process or getting into leadership track. So getting the background of the importance of something what you're going to do, we should give real motivation towards achieving this certificate because PMP is one of the top certificate in project management in the world. Without much delay, I want to give back to Mr. Murad, one of the top most project management executive from New Jersey. Mr. Murad, good morning. I know it's much early morning for you from New Jersey. And thanks for waking up early and coming for us to give a heads up on importance of project management. With
No
this,
worries. It's my pleasure. Um, I hope you can hear me.
well, we can see you, we can hear you. If you want to share your screen, I can start my sharing.
Okay, wonderful. Give me a second. Uh,
Maybe you can give you a heads up and then you can share your screen so people can see you and listen to you for a while.
right. I'm gonna start sharing my screen. So just give me 1 second. Let me see if I can do that. Then I will just get into the state of
Sure.
our conversation. Here's my
Just bring the mouse down, you will see a share button.
yeah, I am looking for that. Um, okay, I've got it. Okay, 1 second. Can you see my? Let me know if you can see my.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay, good. So thank you all for joining. Good evening to a lot of you guys who are in their time zone, and good morning to those who are in the American time zone. It's a daylight saving, so it's pretty early in the morning here in the United States. And I appreciate and thank Mr. Shriram and from ShriLearning to give me an opportunity to share my experience here to the folks out there who are aspiring to become PMP certified. Um, let's share my deck here.
So one request, can you go to slide mode? Yeah, that's good.
Okay, good. So about myself, I am a keynote speaker. I have recently been given an award on PMO. I have built several PMOs globally. Um, in the United States, in the United Kingdom, and also in Switzerland. Uh, I am also a coach and a mentor. Anyone who is willing to learn from me can reach out to me on mentor on LinkedIn, and I can mentor the person. I am, as you can see, several levels of certification I've got. Uh, PMP, PFMP. I'm also master black belt and black belts and lean in Six Sigma, done some Kaizen work, and a level of multiple expertise that I hold. I work in the pharmaceutical industry in New Jersey. If most of you may be aware, but those who are not, let me just share this with you. While you heard that the California is the Silicon Valley of the United States, um, New Jersey is the pharmaceutical hub for the entire United States of America. The entire world's pharmaceutical headquarters is right here in New Jersey. So it's a very huge market for pharmaceutical and healthcare industry in the New Jersey state. Um, from that perspective, it's a great way to get into the um, um, healthcare and pharmaceutical industry if you wish to. New Jersey is a way to start. Um, I will talk about very quickly about the benefits of PMP certification, and also will be sharing my professional experience with you. I will talk about the higher income opportunities. I will talk about the current state and the next steps, and then we'll have a Q&A session. Please feel free to ask questions at the end. Um, if I am not able to answer all of your questions, please send your questions to Mr. Shriram or the board, and I will be happy to reply back to you over the LinkedIn. Uh, Feel free to connect to me. There is a LinkedIn information right in the front of this slide and at the back of the slide as well. So you will have a lot of opportunity to get in touch and with me if you wish to. Um, none to say, PMP is a highly respected accreditation. Um, there is a reason why people want to get accredited in the PMI space. It's because PMI is catching up on a global scale. As you know, in India, they're already doing a lot of project management in PMI methodology. The United States is fully PMI methodology interfaced. Is picking up quickly in Europe. It's also very highly respectable in the Middle East, and in Southeast Asia is very strong. So there is a huge PMI methodology acceptance globally, and they are accepting a level of respect for those who are accredited in PMP. Why get an accreditation in PMP? The reason is because uh, you speak a common language, right? It's very important that you and your peers and your professionals are speaking in a language that is widely accepted in the world. Um, Project management in the technology space, whether it's technology or whether it's construction or any other aerospace industry, project management is a practice that is very well respected. Just like in a profession for medical science, you see a lot of doctors who are speaking their language, and it becomes a common language for professional to speak at the level of the expertise. So getting a PMP accreditation puts you into the phase of the methodology, right? And you are able to speak that methodology not only with your peers, with your professional colleagues, but you are also able to articulate much better during the interview sessions too, because those who are accredited or those who are very experienced are going to drill you into subjects that PMI is training you on. And through the examination, you are able to understand that thoroughly. Now, again, the examination is not an easy examination. It's uh, it requires quite a number of amount of hours of dedication to do that. And to put it into that perspective, it becomes a most respectable certification because you're putting your heart and your soul into getting yourself certified. Because it's a very tedious and time consuming and dedicated practice to get into the level of your certification. It demonstrates your ability of motivation and goal oriented, right? Um, there are people who don't pass the first time, and it requires number of challenges to get into that exam. The reason people sometimes don't get through the exam first time is not because they don't understand the exam. It's because they do not time manage the exam. And because sometimes the management of time is not there, practice is not there, even the most smartest and educated person can also not do the exam. So when you are very clear in doing your exam, you're putting your heart, your soul into it, right? It shows the level of motivation you have. It shows the level of goal-oriented person you are. And if when you see the PMP, people with the other PMP certification gives you that respect, right? And that is something that really works very well. It also demonstrates the ability to manage project in a structured, reputable fashion. Why do I say that? Because PMBOK is a repeatable fashion, right? It is a life cycle of itself that commands you to have a structured process. Um, it is very common to have cross industry project managers working in the United States. Say you get a job in healthcare today, and you have a very good opportunity in aerospace, in Boeing, which is going to be away from the east with northeast, which is New Jersey, and you're going to the west of America, which is where the Seattle market is. When you're cross bordering yourself into different industries, the structure doesn't change. So what happens is that it puts you into a strong practice of the ability to manage project in a structured, repeatable fashion that commands a little bit of more respect, right? And dedication into it. The more you work in PMBOK, the more you realize how easy it becomes for you because it becomes a natural event for you to work. Uh, you can foster knowledge and you can foster practice growth with network of professionals. So what happens is that PMI has got PMI chapters around United States, not only in the United States, around the world, right, where they hold events. I am going to be presenting a speaker event in Indonesia. They have called me. Next year in 2020, I will be traveling to Indonesia to do a speaker event at the chapter. So the chapters provide you a lot of opportunity for fostering knowledge and growth because you are getting into a spectrum where you are very closely connected with people in that practice. And when there is a change in uh, the PMBOK, if PMBOK is going through a different edition, right, you are going to get that level of interaction through chapters. There are opportunities for growth, opportunities for 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 the growth of your practice, where you are able to mingle with people who are not only at the practice level for PM, they are directors and vice presidents. They also go to PMI chapters. So these doors opens up for you because you are a PMP and PMI person, right? And that is a very important thing because going into a field of project management, you need to also grow your opportunities. Again, the most important thing is why put all your time if you're not looking to, to get an opportunity for a higher income. This is a topic that I'm going to share with you in down the slide. I'm going to explain to you why this is a possibility, right? The moment you get certified, there is a chance of you getting a better raise. I'm going to share to you my experience on an understanding of methodology and competencies, right? What happens is that in US, it's a very common practice for companies to have not only a structured methodology, but they also have their own policies and protocols as the governance of a company, right? So for example, say that you are in a healthcare. Healthcare in America is very structured. And I'm not saying it's the only healthcare is structured, aerospace is structured, engineering is structured, but especially when you go into the space of healthcare, they're very highly regulated companies. And in a healthcare, you have tremendous policies that you need to comply. Not only policies of the project management practice, the policy of the company itself. They have high compliance they need to meet, right? So they, company one to company two, they have certain guidelines and policies. So what happens is that when you are cross moving into different companies in healthcare, what happens at that time is that the companies want to make sure that you are consistent in the way you do your project management. And that methodology is very important for them, right? So many companies in the US have their own software life cycle, software development life cycle, SDLC, and it's very tightly and very robust. They have policies and structures built around them for governance. So when you are PMP certified, when you are going into a company, what happens is you are more likely to understand and respect that culture of compliance, right? And I'm not saying those who are not certified are not going to be respectable to that, but you are more trained to do it. For example, right? Uh, in healthcare, we have nurses who have to get licensed. What's the reason for getting licensed? It's because you have to uh, be at the level of accepting compliance, and it's a regulated environment, right? So when you walk into a company that is so highly regulated, they expect to have some level of competencies, and that competencies brings your level high because you are PMP certified. It shows them. The other important thing is also is that when you are going through a PMP exam is not very theoretical, it's very practical too. It's going to ask you a lot of questions that is practice right now. The reason that the addition changes is because they upgraded based on the changes of the practice, right? So it's very practical, and when you are already well versed at the practical level, it shows the level of your competencies. Um, the experience too that I want to share to you is interviews. That's a very important thing because I also, I'm a factor of both sides, right? I do sometimes have to go through the interviews. I also conduct interviews, right? And in conducting interviews, what I also look is that I ask for scenarios. I'm very clear with that. And when you are given a scenario, when you're given a questions on interview, they are probably going to drill you pretty much because they know from the fact, based on your experience, on your answers, how experience level you have. The more they ask you scenario-based questions, the more they know that you are either experienced or you're not very experienced. But when you go through PMBOK and you have gone through the exams, you have some level of intellectualness in you that you are able to answer that scenario with examples. These are very important stuff, very, very important stuff, because that puts your one foot into the door and you are able to get into the next level. I think it's very important that you understand these two experiences very well, because these two experiences that I'm sharing with you is not something that I'm giving you because of my 1 year of experience. It's my 20 years of experience working in this field, right? Um, I have been in the US since 2005. I have been in, I'm Canadian. So it gives you a level of my background, where I'm coming from, especially in the Northeast. And I'm sure that this is not a practice that's only in North America, but also a practice worldwide, that they are going to ask you questions on that level of experience. And again, you don't have to wait for me to tell you. When you get into the level of 12, 14, 15 years of experience, you remember what I say to you, and it will ring your bell that, yeah, this person so and so told me 10 years ago about this, and it's true. This is an experience level that I am actually experiencing right now. This is a very good slide. There is an article that was published on September 5th, 2019. The link to this article is at the back of the slide. As you go down the slide, you'll see the references. So don't worry about this, it's right in there. I will provide this reference, this entire deck to Mr. Shriram, and he can send it off to you if you want to. There is a website that has published this article on September 5th, 2019. And it also has a link to a survey done by PMI, not anybody else. It's PMI that made the survey in 2017 about the income level that companies around the world is having. And based on that, it shows very clearly that the average person in the United States, his income raises by 25% when he gets PMP certified. I'm not saying that. The person who wrote this article is not saying that. It is the PMI survey that says that. So it's good to take a time to go into the survey and read about the survey, right? It's available. You should be able to get it. If you look at my link, you should be able to pull it up. So this is a breakdown of some of the salaries that I have seen in that article. I put it in here. You will see, but again, I'm talking about the United States, 25%. The survey shows that in India, it goes up by 36%. So that's an even better rate of what you're seeing over here in the United States. You will also see a whole long list of all the available average salaries that are in industries. Obviously, the highest command of salary is in the pharmaceutical industry, right? So these are simple examples of what it is, and I wanted to share with you to give you a perspective of how great it is for you. It's very rewarding to be a PMI, PMP certified. What are the next steps? Very important thing is that I want to explain to you what the project and program management managers opportunities are here in the United States, right? Tremendous opportunities. It's a growing industry. There is, although we are hearing a lot about Scrum, we are hearing about Agile, but it's a methodology that requires a Scrum Master. But again, there will always be projects. Projects is never going to end. There will be projects as we move along. When you have a project, you will need PMs for sure, right? And sometimes there are companies that acquire, and in US, it's very common for companies to acquire companies, right? Just a news came yesterday that Google acquired Fitbit, right? So acquisition is very common in America, right? So when acquisition happens, acquisition requires a number of lined up projects running side by side. So there are programs, not just projects. Acquisition becomes more of a program, senior program level job. And it's also very highly paid, right? And this demand is never gonna end, it's gonna increase, and you will have a lot of opportunities, not only in the United States, but in globally. If you're a PMP certified, it will give you an opportunity to look into that. So again, the opportunity of in project management as a practice will always grow, right? I am not an immigration person, so I'm not saying that this is the best way to come into the United States. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is being here myself, I have seen opportunities growing, and I have worked on a global level, so I've seen opportunities there as well. I work very closely with the European market too, and I know that there are projects outside outside of US, in the Europe. I have friends and peers in Middle East, and I know that there are projects there as well. And you are in India, you should know that there are projects in India. Southeast Asia, the reason that they call me for a Indonesia event to do a guest speaking, they know that they have projects over there too, is growing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be spending so much of time and energy to do that. So there is opportunities globally, and there will always be opportunities globally, right? What is the next steps? what I think is important is that we foster knowledge. Knowledge is very important for us. We should always grow with the knowledge. So Mr. Sriram and I have a common agreement about knowledge. What we want to do is we want to publish articles, right? So what we request you to do is send your interest. Tell us what you like us to write. I'm more than happy to write. I just want to give you my background, right? I've just recently finished my doctoral studies. I have just completed my thesis. So I'm very happy. I have time. I would be more than happy to do a research and write on articles. You tell me what your desires are to read, and I and Mr. Shriram will sit down and pick one of the best topics, and we will be very happy to write something for you and publish it so that you can read it. And we want to foster that knowledge growth, right? And we will help you guys a lot. I will open up to questions, and I believe the questions are coming from the text messages in the questions, right? So just give me a second, and okay, I'm going into the chat mode. And anybody who has any questions, please open up and ask. I'm here to answer. Please do not ask me questions on immigration because I'm not an immigration consultant. I'm only a project person. So you can ask me on any questions about project management. I'll be very happy to answer. So I've got one from Mr. Sharma. Waiting to see the text.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Murad. How are you doing?
Good, very good.
So it was a long question, so I thought rather of writing, let me ask it verbally. It will be very convenient for all of us to, it will be very easy for all of us to understand the thing.
Okay,
I've
so
been into the project management.
Before you say anything, can you introduce yourself, who you are, where do you work?
Yes.
Where are you located? And then you can ask your question, and at least the audience know who I'm speaking
Yes,
with.
yes, it'll be my pleasure. My name is Gaurav Sharma. I work in RKD's India Limited as a project manager and working and heading the project of bullet train in India for the land acquisition.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I have been into the I've been into the project management since a decade. So now I came in touch with with Mr. Shriram's team for the project management. But meanwhile, while looking into the market and the demand of the organization as of now, don't look in coming 5 years. Don't you think? What is your opinion that whether the traditional project management methodology will be changed into new methodologies like Scrum Masters, SAFE, and this DevOps?
Okay, very good question. So Agile is picking up very, very strongly in the United States. Very, very strongly, right?
Yeah.
And my experience in Agile is that we are not going to lose the traditional project management. And let's understand what traditional project management you are talking here with. So we are only, while we are looking at Agile as being very large, but Agile is not very, very huge when you compare to project management. And I want to explain this to you. So please, everybody understand this very clearly, right? We are talking about sprints. We are talking about doing Agile, which is the reason for doing Agile is that the developer and the sponsor has the ability and the flexibility to change requirements. Again, this is very much in the IT space. Now,
yes.
understand that there is construction project management, there is engineering project management, there is aerospace project management. Over there, they don't use sprints. They use traditional. Now you use the word traditional project management. In the IT is waterfall, but then building a bridge or building a building doesn't require waterfall because it's different. So they have a different methodology. So I like the way you say traditional project management, but when you use a Scrum, you are actually cross-referencing a lot to the IT. So when you look at the end-to-end spectrum of project management, right? IT is one space, but it's not the only space. The other space is engineering. The other space is construction. The other space is aerospace, right? So companies that makes Boeing uses a different set of project management practice, right? So on that context, yes, it's a huge thing. In the IT space, it's a huge thing, but the traditional way is not going to go away. And I tell you why. This is very important to also understand why it is.
Yes.
Most of the Scrum and most of the Scrum Masters are going to tell you the way the real original Scrum idea is flexibility. And in the flexibility, the idea of a flexible budget is very important because you have to understand your requirement changes as you move along in the sprints. That's the reason you're not doing traditional waterfall, you're doing Scrum. But in companies, most companies, 99% of companies have budget that is already been fixed. You are not able to change those budget, right? And in that context, most companies are doing a hybrid model. They're not doing pure agile. They're doing a hybrid model of traditional project management infused with agile. The reason why is because they still have to have a sequential flow of your project timeline in a project plan so that there is an end date which is baseline, and based on that baseline your dates cannot move. They lock it in. The reason to lock those dates is because the budget has been fixed, right? So in a company that's doing, for example, drug research and R&D, research and development, they have a very specific budget. They cannot blow their budget. So on that context, your traditional project management is not going to phase off. It's going to stay as it is. It's just going to get more infused with the Scrum or Agile that you are saying. I hope that I'm answering your question because that's exactly what I look at it. I have another question coming in. So, Mr. Sharma, I hope I did answer your question.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay. The next one is from Ramesh Raja from Tamil Nadu, India, BE Mechanical from Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. What is the scenario of oil and gas and energy industry in US, UE, and markets? So it's a good question. It's not asking a question on project management, it's asking a question on the market. So I am not from oil and gas energy. I've been working in pharmaceutical for the last 15 years. I wouldn't want to say something that I'm not a subject matter expert. So I think this is not a project management question. It's more of an industry question. So I would have to pass that. Okay, so I am Rajan, working in senior software engineer for the last 5 years and overall 13 years of IT experience on travel domain. My question is, after become PMP, what is the chances I get new job as a PM? Okay, so Rajan, can you come online? I will have a question to ask you so that I can be more clear about your question.
Hi, Mr. Murad. Good morning.
Good morning. So you're Rajan?
Yeah, Ranjan here.
Okay, good. So I want to make sure I understand your question, that you are right now a senior software engineer.
Yeah, right.
So you are a developer and you want to become a PM.
Right, sir.
Okay, and you want to be a PMP certified. So again, your chances should not be bad. So you're in India, right?
Yeah, in India, Delhi.
All right. So have you already started managing any projects?
Yeah, basically we don't have the role of PM, but we are using. We are just two in our team, and I'm managing the particular, I mean, domain. Basically, I'm into Lotus Notes development. So IBM
Okay,
Lotus Notes.
okay. So you are okay. I'm sorry. There's another. Sorry, somebody else is also talking again. One more time.
Yeah, basically, I'm into. I'm managing the projects for last 7-8 years, but I didn't get any designation as PM. You know, that's why I'm trying to. I mean, get PMP certified and get
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Got up.
So
Yeah, sorry.
very important. Very important. When you are looking for a new job, all right, there are two factors that will qualify you for a job. So I don't work in India. I cannot say what's going to happen in India, how
Right.
the practice or the culture is. I'm going to say based on what my experience in the United States is. But again, two things that qualifies you when you get a job. One is your experience. The very first thing they look is your experience, right? And number two is they look at whether you are able to understand a methodology.
All right.
And when you are PMP certified, you are showing that you have a level of understanding, right? So
Right.
if you're saying that you are already doing projects, that shows that you have some level of experience. By
Yeah.
doing PMP, it should give you some good opportunities to get into the new job,
Right.
right?
Right.
But you have to be able to say that. So again, it's
Yeah.
very important to be well prepared for your interview. It's very important to be able to articulate. You must be able to say that you have an experience. So a person who has zero experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? You will not be able to sit for the exam because the exam asks you to have a level of experience. It's looking for your background, right?
Right. Right.
So a person who's going to sit for PMP exam will need to qualify for you to be accepted to do the exam, or at least be accepted as a PMP student. So one
Right.
of the criteria is you need to have certain hours of experience, right? So
Yeah.
experience is the key here, and it's very important. So if you want to change your anybody out there who wants to become or aspiring to become a project manager,
Mm-hmm.
start asking for experience.
Right.
You are in the company as a developer. If you get a chance to shadow your project managers, shadow them,
Yeah.
right? Once you
Right.
do your work, make sure you shadow them. And
Yeah.
it's very important to shadow because that is where you gain your experience level. And when you shadow, your project managers are going to back you up and say, give him the job because he
Right.
can do it. He was with me. And it's very important for you to be at that level. So I don't want to take much of your time. I think I did answer your question, right?
Yeah, yeah, you did. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. The next one is Ramesh Raja. And I think,
Hi, Murad. This is Ramesh here. Can you
yes,
able to hear me?
yes.
Yeah. With respect to project management, only I'm asking. I mean, I'm a mechanical engineer. I was working in L&T, hydrocarbon engineering in oil and gas industry.
Okay.
So a part of kind of project only I was doing the work. It was techno commercial kind of work I was doing. So
Okay.
my question is like, with respect to energy and oil and gas industry, and with respect to project management, how is the scenario in these markets?
What scenario?
Hope it's clear.
You are breaking, you're
I
intermittent.
mean, oil and gas industry.
Okay. So
The
again,
voice is breaking.
I'm not getting a question. Say again what you're asking me.
With respect to oil and gas industry and energy industry,
Right.
and we taking as a PMP course, I mean, project management.
Right.
As a project management, how is the market over there?
Okay. So I'm pretty sure your question is almost the same as the question came before that in oil industry. So
Okay.
I can tell you right now from a project management practice is always there, right? Now, how good is the oil energy sector for getting a job? I'm not from that sector. So,
Okay.
right, you have to understand, if I'm going to sit down here and tell you, oh, there is a 99 chance of you getting a job in oil industry when I'm actually working in a pharmaceutical, I will be lying to you. So that's not the way I
Okay.
would answer the question, right? What I
Fine.
can tell you, what you
Okay.
need to know is that the demand of project management is not going to go down,
Okay.
because it's always going to be in every industry. You understand?
Fine.
So if you are if you are in the space of oil and industry, and you are going into the oil and industry space, then you are a subject matter expert in that field. And if you're not in the field of oil industry and you want to get into the field of oil industry, say you are in the oil industry field, you want to get into the pharmaceutical industry, right? Then you need to understand the way project management space runs in healthcare industry, because it's tightly regulated, right? So there is a different level of competencies that runs. You need to connect with people in that field. So if you are very interested in oil and gas, connect with people who are in the field. Go to LinkedIn, look for PMs, contact them, and ask that question to them. They will be the better person to answer you.
Okay, fine enough. Thank you.
Right? No worries. Next one is, hi Murad, I'm an aerospace engineer working in Indonesia. Will more PMP holders reduce the value of PMP in the market? No, it will not. It will actually boost them, because your community is growing, right? So let me ask you the same question. There are a lot of attorneys. Does the level of attorneys go down? There are a lot of doctors. Does the level of doctors go down? There is so much of a need that you will always need three people in your life, right? You need a good accountant, you need a good doctor, you need a good attorney. This, just like that, no matter how many they are, you can see that the ocean is so huge that the community is growing. So for me to answer that question, Naveen, I feel it will not reduce, but it will create more of a respect, and the community is growing. So I think this is a great thing that you should do. So I hope I answered your question. And if you have something else, Naveen, you can come online and I can listen and I can answer you also if you want to do that. Okay, good. Next one is, do we have time?
Mr. Murad, I'm audible. This is Shriram here. There is one question from a candidate is asking, is CAPM certification has a same value like PMP certification?
All right. So it's a junior level. All right. PMP is a senior level. So the answer is very simple, right? If you have a senior PM standing next to a PM who's standing next to a junior PM, you know what the level of opportunities that person is going to have. So if you are prepared to, and again, there are different requirements, right? And you're talking about ACP is agile, right? Correct. There is a good opportunity for you to do PMP and to do ACP. Focus on your PMP first is a very important stuff to do. For agile, there are different avenues to do. I think Mr. ShriLearning is also giving SAFE for agile, right?
Yep.
That is also a good place to look into it. It's a scale model. It's a very good model to look into it. I'm not saying ACP is not a good certification. It's a very good certification because it's perspectives coming from PMI. But if you want to go pure agile, then you should also look into that. Can you please answer my point number 2? When is the right time for the PMP certification? So Vinay, I did answer your question. I'm sorry, is that Vinay, right? There was a question from Vinay that I just answered.
Yes, Ms. Murad, you did it. And
okay, good. Okay, good.
Second question.
He said, yes, it's good. All right. So coming back to Naveen, the question number 2 is, when is the right time to do PMP certification? My answer to you will not be do it now, or the time is now. The time is when you are ready. Okay, it's very important. But I don't think losing losing a chance to get into the bandwagon is very important, right? Opportunities are there. The earlier, the sooner you can get into the bandwagon, the more opportunities you can reap. but you have to be prepared. Another important thing about when the right time for PMP is, you need to qualify certain hours before you can be qualified to do the examination, right? So
Yes.
if you are lacking that hours, please make sure you have that enough hours to get into. And once you have that, and if you have already got that hours right now and you're contemplating to do it, then the question is, what is putting you behind? What is it? Some people are very worried about doing the exam is because they have a fear factor. The exam is very difficult. Is this the right time to do it? Uh, Take the fear out, put your opportunity ahead of the fear, and then do it. So the timing is all up to you. You are the person who's going to sit for the exam. I think it's more important that you are ready for it. Again, when you are mentally and emotionally ready to do it, then obviously the teachers are there to help you, like Mr. Shriram. All right. Okay. The next
Yes.
question, I just want to make sure I didn't lose the other one. Okay, good. The next one is from Lakshmana Rao. Working in Pulse Mars Pharmaceutical, Hyderabad, India. My question is, I have 2 years experience in R&D, analytical R&D, currently switched to PM, now working as senior executive project coordinator. Next year, I want to attempt the PMP certification. Is this the right time to give attempts? Is my 2 years of R&D experience will be considered for the same? I will ask that question to Mr. Shriram. Um, he qualifies for this.
Thanks, Murad. Hey, Lakshman, I think we spoke about this some time back. Thanks for asking this question again. See, at least we need to have 4,500 hours of experience to get into project management certification, which talks about around 3 years of experience in project management, right? So with this R&D experience, you would be eligible to go for CAPM, right? The Associate in Project Management. I believe you asked this same question at least few chats above. Is it CAPM valid, right? For a person with the entry level into project management, CAPM is highly valid. I'm getting college grads coming out. I'm getting a 1 year experience person coming out to learn project management. They get certified as a CAPM and they get into entry level of leads, managers, associate leads, this kind of roles they take into the industry. But for your question, the point is with this 2 years of experience, it may not be possible to get into PMP now. You need to fulfill that 3 years of experience, then you will be able to get inside. When I say 3 years, 3 years of project experience. I believe that answers your question, Lakshman. Right. And then for the Naveen, I think you're asking about 10 years of experience. Yes, Naveen, you will be eligible to get into project management. That's the right time to get in. As Mr. Murad mentioned, there is time. Sometimes you ask, right, when to do it. You're did by yesterday. They
Yes.
don't say,
Yes.
right? It's yesterday. You
Yeah.
should have done it. That's the message comes in. I see people at the age of 6 years of experience, they start getting into managerial track. And when it's
Oh.
at 10 years, it's a really ideal time. By now, you should be hitting the delivery management or higher management roles. If you have a great domain experience and great influence in an organization, you keep growing up faster. But sometimes you have to prove to the industry that I have the experience, I have proved in the international market with my PMP certification. These two ingredients joined together that makes your job promotion, your package going to be faster. It's not only about the money earning, the way you deliver the work speaks your quality, right? That also happens through the PMP certification. So I would tell it's a right time, you have to jump in, right?
Okay.
Back to Mr. Murad.
Okay. So I do want to add in a very important point to all of you, right? When you are trying to get a promotion or you are trying to get another job, I'm not an HR expert. I'm not trying to be an HR expert, but what I want you to understand is it all depends on your interview. These are the very important stuff, right? With PMP certification, I don't want you to understand or think that, oh, I have a certificate, I'm going to waive it and I'm going to go into a door. You have to be prepared. Your interview, you have to know there are a lot of factors to do that. So I think the mentality is that the PMP certification is an accreditation. right? An accreditation puts you into the level of professional acceptance, right? And from there, you already have your one foot into the door. The rest is for you to work your way, right? So it helps you tremendously with that certification. And I think that is the most important way to think when you talk about certification. It's an accreditation and a respect that you will get from the market.
That's right.
Okay.
Mr. Miller, if you allow me, Mr. Naveen is much interested to know about oil and gas. I have one stats which we got from PMI website, which talks about the job opportunity in the market in different sectors for till 2027. The stats which talks about it. I've just shared the screen. Let them take a look of it. Even though it has 10 years of data, I'm just going to show that now quickly so that Mr. Murad, he gets an idea. I mean,
Okay.
what I do is, yeah, I think this is the stats which I want to share with the team. If you watch out, this is from Anderson Group and PMI, which made a survey on the demand job opening due to expansion and attrition in project-oriented sectors from 2017 to 2027 in 11 countries they analyzed. I think some time back I spoke about the same topic, but again, I want to share it because Naveen is much interested to know about oil and gas sector. And 11 countries talks about the top countries in the world, including US, Canada, UAE, and India, China, some other important countries. I'm sure in this group chat, people are here. You may be falling one out of this industry, which is explained here, right? So just want to give a heads up to you so that you get a feel that, yes, there is an amazing demand there in the market. And again, the numbers here is not the labor level. It is about the managerial leadership level. So always there is a demand, as Mr. Murad mentioned, it's going to be there as the job expansion and attrition is keep happening continuously, right? That's a message here. Good. I think Naveen, you got the point?
Yes, yes.
Great, Naveen. Good. I'll stop the sharing. Mr. Murad, you can take on.
Okay. Any other questions that you guys have?
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah. Murad, would you like to add any other points to the team telling that when you prepared or when you talk to the people who get qualified into PMP in a different industry, or when you talk to people, when you travel to other countries, what is the best feel you get out of them in the sense of benefit out of the course, or not only PMP, it could be of anything on PMI when they get qualified? What kind of inputs you get out of from the candidates?
So when I do interviews, I have talked to people who are not PMP certified, and I have spoken to those who are PMP certified. Don't get me wrong, there are several very experienced project managers. For their own reasons, they don't want to get PMP certified, and they are very experienced. But what I've also, when I am looking for a position, I mention PMP. And there's a reason I do that, is because I want to have somebody who is at least certified in an exam that is, it requires tremendous hard work to get passed, right? It also gives a level of competency. So when I'm speaking to somebody with PMP certification, that person usually is able to answer scenarios. So it's very important. Again, don't get me wrong. I have met PMP certified professionals who are not prepped for the interviews. So again, I say it's very important to prep yourself for the interviews. These are very important things, right? Putting yourself in your mindset that, oh, I'm PMP certified, now I can get into the door just with my certification. That's not the way. I'm saying to you, very important is that take the certification as an accreditation. An accreditation, just like you have an accreditation with your degree, right? Your degree gives you accreditation, right? But with the degree, you have to put in a lot of your effort when you're going for the interview. Preparing for your interview is very, very important, right? There are a lot of things that you need to know. So just like going for a PMP exam, You have to prep for it. Your life is full of prep, right? Everything is prep in your life. When you go to a high, when you're going to a school for your A-level exams, you have to prep. You have to prep for your degrees. You have to prep when you become parents. You have to prep when you get a job. So preparation is very, very important. But the PMP will give you a level of confidence to you, right? You'll be able to speak that language. You'll be able to understand. When someone throws to you a scenario, you are able to talk about it because you have the experience based on the exams. If exams is throwing to you tough questions, you're already all polished right now, right? You're going one of the toughest exams and you're polished. So why people like to go to an Ivy League universities, top universities, because they polish you. And when you get into the market, you are a polished person. So when questions come to a polished person, he or she can answer faster than a not a polished person, right? So his PMP is at that level. It puts you and it polishes you. So you become more of a professional level of thinking. And I'm not saying that without PMP, you're not professional. Is that you're more polished, right?
Mr. Murad, that's a point. In fact, whenever I talk to people, they first ask me, Shriram, can you give a job, what is it, assurance I'll get after clearing PMP? The moment I tell them that the moment you clear PMP, you will be among some top listed people in the world because so far only 1 million people have achieved that certificate. So the opportunity of getting inside the interview room, the probability is very high. It's very high. But how do you do in the interview? It's purely on our interpersonal skills, on our domain knowledge, and the necessity of your capacity in that organization. These are all parameters there. It is not only PMP is going to get you a job, PMP is going to be add on. As you mentioned, it is going to polish them. It makes them a better person to sit in front of people or executives for an interview, right? So
Right.
that's my point. Good, Mr.
Right.
Murad, thanks for adding it.
I do want to share that a lot of people have the same fear that I used to have when I first sat for the PMP exam, right? And it's a common fear, and people should have that if they are skeptical, should I do it? Should I not do it? Is it going to bring any value? These are all common questions. It's a reasonable questions I had at my time when I was trying to do it. But from the experience that after doing it, if you ask me, was it worth? I say it's worth. It's worth my PMP exam. It's worth my experience. And if I feel it's worth, you will feel down the road it would be worth. Okay.
That's true. That's true.
So thank you again. I don't see any questions coming in. So thank you everybody for attending this call. I really appreciate it.
There, Mr. Murad, sorry to interrupt you there. I think Lakshman has the last question there, asking
Yes.
opportunities in the pharmaceutical industry. I think it's related to your domain.
Yeah.
Probably you can give some heads up on that. The last question.
Okay, hang on one second. Okay, so sir, what about PMP opportunities in pharmacy industry side? There is tremendous opportunities in pharma. Pharma is growing. Just recently, there is a news that Bristol Myers has acquired Celgene, right? So there is always opportunities for project management in pharma. I have seen a growth. I will see a growth. There will always be opportunities. So I think that is not going to go away. But again, I'm talking about United States. So I cannot talk to you about the opportunities of pharma in India because I'm not in there. I can tell you where I am. I'm in the US. I can tell you that from what I'm seeing, there will always be opportunities. There is another one here from Abiram. Hi, they say with PMP, one can work in any field managing projects. Does PMP let a project manager with high managing skill allow you to work in different sectors? Okay, this is a very good question. It's cross-industry sectors that he's asking you questions about. you do need to understand, you can't just jump around in industry when you want to. Every industry requires a level of experience, right? When you are going into pharmaceutical in US, the first question they ask is, do you have healthcare background? Or you have experience? So I'm pretty sure you're going to go into oil industry, they're going to ask you the same question. You're going to go to aerospace, they're going to ask you a question. So yes, with PMP, you are able to manage project in a structured fashion. But in order to get projects is in cross industries, you have to understand the industry first. You have to make a good research about the industry and then go into that practice, right? So again, preparation is very important. Knowing who you are going into is very important. Knowing who you're competing with is very important, right? These are all basic research you have to do. I'm not saying, don't take in your mind you have a PMP now you can jump around with industries. Jumping around is not a good fashion, because companies are going to interview you. They're going to ask you questions about background on healthcare. They're going to ask you questions about aerospace background. So you need to understand that. How you want to do it, connect more with people in LinkedIn with that industry. If you feel like you want to crawl, or you want to change your industry path, it's very common, right? You feel that I am in a wrong industry. I don't feel happy in the industry. I want to change my industry. I want to move into pharmaceutical. LinkedIn, connect with people in pharmaceutical industry. Talk to them, right? Maybe they will help you. They will guide you. These are very important steps to understand. PMP will help you put your foot into the door. But again, prep is very important. And I think what people are missing is preparation. And there's you have to go back to the thought process when you were in school. You have to prep for your exam. Just because you're in a school doesn't mean you will pass, right? You have to put your dedication into it. So getting into another industry requires you to be prepped, knowing what the industry is all about. So I hope
Yeah.
Abiram, I hope I did answer your question. If not, come on the chat and ask me. If I can hear, I can perhaps give you the answer right. I'm sure I've answered your question. All right, so I
Yep.
think it's good.
Good.
So
I think
are
good.
we good?
Yes, Mr. Murad, it's so much a high pleasure to have you here with us. I know it's out of your busy schedule, flying with the different countries. You have given us 1 full hour of time to explain things to us. And it's really valuable to get your experience, 20 years of experience in the industry, and being a key person in a PMI, and being a key person, keynote speaker in the bigger forums. So it's giving a broad idea to us. And thanks for your time doing research and bringing up the data. And thanks for answering all the questions in the industry what they're asking for. And special thanks to you for doing that purpose for here today.
Okay, this is my contact. Please connect me with Lincoln if you want to. These are the references of the two that you can do. I will give the deck to Mr. Shriram. And thank you again for joining. Really appreciate it. It was a great opportunity to work, be able to speak to you guys. And if you have any other further questions, feel free to connect with me. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Murad. Thanks a lot. Okay. Yeah, thanks all participants for joining here and asking more valuable questions today. We appreciate your time for doing it. Okay, what's the plan today is, first plan is to have a discussion with Mr. Murad to understand the importance of project management and PMP and talk about the industry things. And then we want to talk about the stakeholder and some of the exam points. But what happened here is the questions are so interesting and we were able to go for another 30 minutes extra. So now that is hitting our project here. So now we have to do time management. So what we'll do is we will redo the session again another day where we will spend exact 1 hour to explain about stakeholder management and exam questions. I don't want to hurry up in the 30 minutes and it shouldn't be a push on information. I want to explain it step by step and I want to explain it with every tips how to handle the exam questions. So what we are planning today is we will make the session again another time. I mean, next week sometime. So we will make it as a 1 hour session where we're going to explain the stakeholder analysis with the exact exam questions and key tips how to go for the questions, right? So that's a plan change here. I believe this 1 hour was much useful for you. Some of your basic questions getting clarified. If still you have questions, don't hesitate. Contact us. It's about support@ShriLearning.com, or if some of you connect with me in the LinkedIn, you can reach out to me, and we will share the mobile numbers, WhatsApp numbers from the support team. So you can reach out anytime. We'll get all the questions clarified. Quick thing to you, you may be from any domain, you may be from any country, you may be having any number of experience. For everyone, we have a project management study and analysis. So you can reach out and we'll help you how to progress in your learning and also career path, right? We are here to suggest that part. And we have good relation with some other good people in US, Canada, and Australia, where we can connect with them respectively and get more knowledge on how to progress in your career, right? So with this, I would like to say thanks to everyone for joining here, and we will meet again by next week, where I will set up a timeline where we talk about stakeholder management with exam questions, right? Mr. Farooq, we will be sharing you Murad details soon in the coming up in the LinkedIn post on the emails. Thanks all for joining here, and sorry to disappoint you with not sharing the exam questions. We will have a leisure time to talk a little more in depth, right? Thanks all for joining.